الله عليه وسلم أما بعد أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين وقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بلغوا عني ولو آية. Respected brothers, today we have got together to fulfill one of the most important obligations in Islam, and that obligation is da'wah. And we will see what da'wah actually means. Before we do that, I would like to introduce this course very quickly. This course is called Call of Duty. You can call it what you like. You can call it a da'wah course, basically. Okay? It will teach you the techniques and the methods of da'wah. The course is predominantly, mainly based upon the Quran and the Sunnah. And it is not something we have invented. It is not something we have added into Islam as a new thing. Rather, it is based upon the prophetic methodology, the methodology of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and whatever he taught to his companions, and whatever is taught through the Quran. So mainly the course is based upon the prophetic methodology, so that you're clear from the start that this is not something new you are learning today. What you will be learning today is how a Muslim can effectively give da'wah. And sometimes we have misconceptions about da'wah. We think da'wah is something we think what it is. But when we actually start to go into the course, when we go through the course, I can guarantee you, some of you brothers have been Muslims for the last 40, 50 years, depending on how old you are, and you may have been exposed to certain aspects of da'wah through the ulama, through the du'at. But this course is designed in a very unique way. It takes the da'i and the one who is given da'wah to through a very, very powerful journey. And by the end of the course, inshallah ta'ala, you will be able to deliver the message of Islam in a very short span of time, in a very concise and effective way to non-Muslims, inshallah. And this is what the course is designed for. Now that I have introduced the course to you, we will talk about the meaning of da'wah. What do we know about da'wah? So I think when we go further, we will see what the course objectives are. Inshallah ta'ala, in this course, we don't have the notes yet. We haven't come to the notes yet. Yeah, inshallah, I'll let you know when we come to the notes have the basic stages we are covering, inshallah ta'ala. So the details are here on the slides, inshallah, not in the notes. The notes are a summary of the main points we will be covering today. So the objectives of this course: commit to make da'wah a key part of your life. It is an obligation. The reason why I said it is an obligation is because this is what Allah tells us, and this is what the Prophet ﷺ told us. He commanded us generally, بَلِّغُوا عَنِّي وَلَوْ آيَةً. Deliver from me, even if it is a verse. Right? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, in a number of different places, He commanded us to invite people with hikmah and the best of reasoning. So, it is obligatory. And this course, for that reason, is also obligatory, because anything that helps you fulfill your obligations towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also obligatory. Right? So when you do salah, salah is what? Is fardul ayn. What we know fardul ayn, every single Muslim has to pray 5 times a day. And for that reason, wudu, which is a prerequisite for the salah, is also obligatory for that reason. Because it is wudu that facilitates your salah. Without wudu there is no salah, right? And for that reason, wudu is also obligatory. Likewise, this course is obligatory because it helps us get to the next stage, which is the actual delivery of da'wah, which is the work, which is the amal. Okay, now we are going through the learning process as to how we do it. So, second point, objectives. Have a simple but effective map on how to give da'wah. Very simple methodology, as you will see, inshallah, in due course. This is to achieve the ultimate objective, which is for the non-Muslims to enter Jannah, not just to get a shahada. Okay, the purpose of da'wah is not to get a number of people to take the shahada, because that's the first step, that's the easy part. Okay, it is a lot more than that. So what is da'wah? What is the definition of da'wah? It is a collection of 3 Arabic alphabets, dal, ayn, wa. Okay, da'wa. Okay, which in the Arabic language, some of you are the Arabs. I'm not in a position to lecture you on the language. Okay, it means to simply linguistically invite, right? But technically in Sharia, the meaning of da'wah is to invite to Allah. This is very, very important now. From the very beginning, have the concept clear in your minds. What is da'wah? Da'wah is inviting to Allah. This is da'wah. Ud'u ila sabili rabbik. Okay? Invite to your Lord. وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ مِمَّنْ دَعَى إِلَى اللَّهِ. Okay? وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَى إِلَى اللَّهِ. Okay? Whose word is better than the one who calls to Allah. So da'wah is ilallah. This is da'wah according to the Quran, according to the teachings of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Why? Mu'az bin Jabal radiyallahu anhu sent to Yemen Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, innaka sata'ti qawman ahla kitab, right? Yes. فَإِذَا جِئْتَهُمْ فَادْعُوهُمْ إِلَىٰ أَنْ يَشْهَدُوا أَنْ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ وَأَنَّ مُحَمَّدًا رَسُولُ اللَّهِ فإنهم أطاعوا لك بذلك فأخبرهم أن الله قد فرض عليهم 5 صلوات. Okay, so first point, فَادْعُوهُمْ. When the Prophet ﷺ tells Mu'az bin Jabal, now this is the consistency between the Quran and the Sunnah. Allah is telling us da'wah is ilallah in the Quran, very simply, in simple terms. The Prophet ﷺ is telling us in his Sunnah that it is to Allah, because when he uses the word فَدْعُوهُمْ, when you invite them, إِلَىٰ أَنْ يَشْهَدُوا اللَّهَ إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ وَأَنَّ مُحَمَّدًا رَسُولُ اللَّهِ. Then the next part, Rasulullah doesn't say فَدْعُوهُمْ, he says فَأَخْبِرْهُمْ. Then you warn them about salah. Once they obey you in following Allah and His Messenger, then you warn them about the salah. Okay? So da'wah, this is very, very important. This is what the entire course is based upon. So be very clear in the beginning that da'wah is calling to Allah specifically. Okay? Nothing else is da'wah. In Sharia, in Islam, da'wah means calling to Allah. This is what your understanding should be, and this is what your purpose should be when you call people to Al-Islam, calling them to Allah. And we will, when we go into the details, you will know exactly what I'm talking about, where people get confused about this concept, how they lose the track, how they go off the path very quickly, okay? And they start wasting time when they're thinking they're giving da'wah, right? But they're not actually giving da'wah, they're doing something else. Da'wah is calling to Allah. It's very clear, inshallah. I hope it's clear so far, inshallah. Okay. So what we need to do before we start, purify our intention. Intention and sincerity. إنما الأعمال بالنيات وإنما لكل امرئ ما نوى ومن كانت هجرته إلى الله ورسوله فهجرته إلى الله ورسوله. The first hadith of Sahih al-Bukhari and many hadith collections, the ulama of hadith, muhaddithin, the reason why they put this hadith as the very first hadith of the collection is to remind themselves and the reader. They are reminding themselves that I am putting all this down in this book, all the details of Sharia, so that I can enter Jannah. I can please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and enter Jannah. So it is purely for the sake of Allah. And if I am doing it for something else, then I'm wasting my time. and my brain cells and my blood cells. Okay? It's a waste of energy, right? And then the reader is being reminded that you are about to now indulge in this study of Sharia, of the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So purify your intentions. Why are you doing it? Okay, are you doing it to gain something from this world, or is it purely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? If you are doing it for Allah, then continue. If you're doing it for something else, then leave it. It's a waste of time, waste of brain cells and blood cells. Okay, so make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens your hearts and your minds to ilm, knowledge, which is effective and beneficial, inshallah. Then truly immerse yourself in the rest of the day and activities, inshallah ta'ala. And this is your training ground, yani this is your... So we will skip some of the parts, some of these, this course is actually designed for a lot longer because of the details. I will, inshallah ta'ala, we will not leave anything important out. You will get the core of the course today, inshallah ta'ala. So before we go on to actually giving da'wah, I want you to understand something. How does da'wah begin? This is now very important. This is where you will understand what da'wah actually means. Right? I told you, what is da'wah? What is da'wah? Calling to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now what happens is, usually da'wah conversations, they start with a question. Someone comes to you and asks you a question. You're Muslims, why did your Prophet marry 9 years old girl? Your Prophet was, a'udhu billah, thumma a'udhu billah, he was sleeping with a little child. This is how people think nowadays, yes? This question might have come up to you, you might have seen it on the net as well, okay? Or you people are a bunch of murderers, right? Look what you're doing. Look, you're blowing up buses and you're going into the train stations and your people are stabbing people. Yeah, these questions will come up. You're living in the West and the media is not your friend, okay? So they will paint an extremely negative picture of Islam, okay? For this reason, you have to know these things even more now. Your da'wah activity has to intensify. It cannot go any lower. Your energy has to rise so that you can actually go out and present the true picture of Islam to people, okay? There are many ways to do da'wah. There are many ways to call to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So long as you understand that you're calling to Allah, there are many ways. Some are direct ways to call to Allah, others are indirect. And direct ways are always the best. Because that's what the prophets did. The prophets of Allah, when they came, they didn't play games with people. They didn't go around the bush. They told them straight that we have been sent by Allah and this is why we are here. So that you can turn to Allah. Right? So, people will come to you with uncomfortable questions, what we call uncomfortable questions. About Sharia, about jihad, about what is the ruling on killing an apostate in Islam, for example. What is the ruling on apostasy in Islam, for example? Okay, what is the ruling on adultery in Islam, for example? They will ask these very classic questions, and some of these questions have been mastered by Islamophobes, Islam haters, and they throw these questions at you to put you on the back foot. What happens then? What happens? Usually, what happens? You start to defend. You start to respond, right? You think now you will defend Islam against these attacks on Islam, these intellectual attacks on Islam. So you start to now think that you are Allama, Sheikh, Mufti, Fulan or Fulan or Fulan, yeah? And you start to think that you can defend all these points. And we know the reality that most Muslims, unfortunately, are not most, I'm not saying all, most Muslims are not educated enough to answer these questions. They're not educated enough to answer these questions. And every single question that might come your way, Brother Rachid, is there a board and a chalk? If I can get it very quickly, inshallah, so that we can. So, what I want to do now, very quickly, I want to make a list of these uncomfortable questions. right? What's going to happen is, with these uncomfortable questions, they will never stop. They will never stop. You answer one question, another one will come. You answer that, another one will follow that, right? So the list will never end, okay? As we will see inshallah ta'ala, because every single human on the planet is a different thinker. Every single person thinks differently, right? So they will have different questions on Islam. Some people have a problem with hijab, others have a problem with niqab, some people have a problem with the concept of jihad, some people have a problem with the concept of sharia and the criminal penalty, hudud, what we call hudud, right? They have a problem with that. Some people have a problem with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Prophet's life and his maghazi, how he did, what he did, the battles he fought, Banu Qurayza for example, what happened there? Why did your Prophet, why did you do that? Okay, so all these questions will come up while you're giving da'wah, and if you're giving da'wah to an informed non-Muslim who has been exposed to some of anti-Islam literature online, which is now very easy unfortunately, you will be exposed to it. And they will be exposed to it, and that's why, and sometimes unfortunately, Muslims have no idea what they're talking about, because they haven't studied the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ themselves. They haven't actually studied the life of the Prophet. They don't know some of the things that come up. And I'm talking about, forget about the non-Arabs, I'm talking about the Arabs nowadays. You know, the youth, they have no idea, because they have not been exposed to Islam like back in the day people used to be exposed, you know. Before colonialism, let's say before the year 1900, after colonialism, after the French and the British and the others came into Muslim lands and colonized our lands, left behind their own education system. And that education system slowly took our youth away from the Islamic tradition. So they have an identity crisis. They don't know where they stand, right? So we will now make a list. Before the board comes, we will start to make a list of questions. What kind of questions have you come across? You will help me, inshallah ta'ala, in this. What kind of questions have you come across?
What hijab is hijab?
Can I borrow one of your pens?
The pencil.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. I think Brother Rachid is bringing the board. Yeah, say. Do you have the marker? Do you have the marker with it?
I don't get it.
Okay. Right. Oh, you found it. Yeah, we just need a tissue.
We'll have some.
The eraser. Yeah, I think it's okay here, right? That's okay, don't worry about it. Okay. Question. Hijab. Number 2, something else? Anything else? Quickly.
Why is pork haram?
Okay, 4. Number 3, interest. Number 4, get the question.
Jihad.
Sorry?
Jihad.
Jihad. Violence in Islam, yeah? Violence.
Polygamy.
Polygamy, very good. Okay. Number 6.
But the obvious first thing is, what
Huh?
you believe.
Sorry?
Why you believe. That's the first
Okay.
thing. They just said it. Atheism.
Why do you believe? There's no evidence, Yani. Okay? Number 7.
Great part culture, cutting hands and.
Hudud. Hudud.
and then oppression, female oppression.
Misogyny. What we call misogyny. Okay? Number 9. Misogyny is like oppression of women. Okay? Anything else? Young marriage of Aisha. Yeah? Age of Aisha. Okay? Number 10. Banu Qurayda. Okay? Banu Qurayda. Number 11. The list goes on and on and on. Okay? So, this is a never-ending game. And I can guarantee you now that if I asked you, if I played the devil's advocate, if I asked you to answer these questions, none of you will be able to satisfy me. You won't. You want to try? Stand up, inshallah. Stand up, please. Why, are you Muslim?
Yes.
Okay, what's your name? Okay, so let's assume I'm your colleague from your work, John. I'm John. Muhammad, you're a nice chap. You come to work smiling. You're a very decent looking guy. I just can't come around the fact that you believe in a prophet who slept with a 9-year-old girl. How can you believe in a prophet like that? Respond, please.
I believe he didn't actually sleep with her when she was 9.
So when did he sleep?
I believe it was much later on.
Right, but your sources, all your sources are saying that no, she was 9. Your scholarly sources are saying she was 9. I've read it. So are you now doing taqiyya? That's another problem. That's another thing that will come up. Taqiyya. And wallahi, this has become very famous. Taqiyya.
Yeah, if they don't know the answer.
Yeah, now a lot of non-Muslims in the West,
They don't know.
they think Muslims lie. They simply lie. This has been spread out there. And it's not our doctrine. Taqiyya is not our doctrine. It is the doctrine of the Shia. Okay? It is not our doctrine. Ahl Sunnah, we don't believe in taqiyya. We know the lying is only allowed in three cases, as we know the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. This is when husband is lying to his wife to please her, to make her happy, or when you're lying to make up between two
People to bring them
individuals so that there is peace between them, or in conflict, right? Which is deception, right? Other than that, lying is not allowed in Islam. And when they say taqiyya, they give the example of Ammar bin Yasir. That's not taqiyya. That's actually saving your life under extreme torture and duress, right? So taqiyya, which is outright lying, but that's another question now. We're going to go into that. So tell me, are you doing taqiyya now? I mean, I've read online that you guys can actually lie to hide your religion. Now you're in a bigger trouble now. You are in a bigger trouble. So
Yeah, so when a Muslim answers this question, he's not answering the question to lie, he's answering according to his own knowledge.
yes, which is very limited in most cases.
Exactly, yes.
Just sit down. Thank you. This is the point now. So, can you stand up, Afi? Please. Okay. Why are you so violent, you people? You look like a nice guy. I know you're not violent. You've never shown violence. But it just seems that the whole world is suffering because of you guys. That's what I see.
Well, that's what people perceive. Put it this way, if you look at the history, there has been a conflict, throughout the history from the start.
No, but you guys are the ones who are doing it. It's been you guys all the way. Your book is violent. There are verses in your book. Have you read your book, the Quran? Have you read it?
Yeah, of course.
There are verses in it that command to kill disbelievers. Do you believe in that?
You have to take it in context, obviously.
So you can kill people in context.
Well, yes, of course. We
You
can.
can kill people in context?
Yes,
As
of
long as the
course.
context is right, you can actually kill people.
Suppose somebody is coming to kill you.
Yeah.
You try to.
No, you don't have to
protect
kill someone who's coming to kill you.
it. Wow.
But here we don't have that problem. The problem is these people are actually going out and killing innocent people. So who are these people? Are they not Muslims? They have beards, they look like you.
Well, that's where you need to be careful. Who these people are. What is their motto? Even though they just come up with this idea.
Right. You see, you have lost me already. I'm not listening to you. I'm not listening to you. No matter what you have to say, I'm not listening to you. Right? You're responding to me. You may be very effective in your response. You may even give me good responses. But it doesn't fully satisfy me. Because I'll still go away thinking, I'm sorry, man, it doesn't, because I have very limited knowledge of your book, the Quran. I don't know the tafsir, I don't know the details, right? And I will assume that the Quran has violence in it, and then it translates into real situations, right? In London, in Manchester, or wherever, right? So there's a problem there. And no matter what you say, you can't satisfy me. Because the reality goes against you. The media is painting your violence as if there is no other violence on the planet, right? So you have a big task at hand. Now, another point. Who wants to, can you please stand up, my beloved brother? Why, you are a Muslim, right? Okay, I've seen you around. It's been a while, we've been working together. I've always had these questions in my mind. Can you please help me understand as to why women have to cover? They look like bin bags.
Well, even Christianity, nuns are covered with hair.
I don't believe in Christianity. I don't care about Christianity.
We believe.
I'm asking as a human, how can you put your women in those, like, they look like bin bags walking around? I mean, please don't get offended, but this is what I see.
All what we got instructed is just women to cover whatever attract the man looking at her. So just be
hold on.
decent. That's all.
Look at our women, they're walking around perfectly fine, they're happy in their shorts and their briefs, and no one's actually saying
that's
anything.
why they cause a lot of distractions in the
Who is
community.
distracted? I'm not distracted. I actually enjoy it, looking at that.
Exactly. We don't do that.
Right. So now I'm a non-Muslim, I have my perception on women, how they should dress, and it is very difficult for you to satisfy me on your traditional ways.
Definitely.
Right? Yes? So,
We defend.
yes, and believe me, someone who is trained to answer these questions. The problem is, most Muslims on the planet, it is fard upon them to what? To give dawah. It is fard upon them. Okay? And they think giving dawah is answering these questions. It is part of dawah, no doubt. No doubt. It is a branch of dawah to satisfy people intellectually, no doubt. But this is not the kull, what we call kull. This is juz. This is one of the parts. It is not the whole body. The kull is ilallah, calling to Allah. It has to always go back to that. It has to start with that. It has to end with that. Making them think of Allah. Why? You will see how it is effective in that way. And inshallah, by the time we end this course, you will know exactly why this methodology works and why the prophets applied this methodology over everything else. Right? Now we can give effective answers to all these questions. All of them, alhamdulillah. Anyone who's trained in dawah, someone who has had plenty of experience in dawah, who's been in the field for, let's say, 10 years, because that person has faced these questions on a daily basis, he or she has read around and knows well how to defend Islam when it comes to these points. I'll give you an example. The age of Aisha. How would you defend it? First of all, you don't cede territory and start to claim that, oh, Aisha was 16, she was a 9. No, she was 9. We accept she was 9. It is clearly stated in the sources, and these sources are absolutely authentic. There's no question on the authenticity. She was 9 when the Prophet ﷺ consummated the marriage with her.
And she was 6 when he wrote.
She was 6 when the act was done,
Yes.
and the consummation took place in Medina when she migrated to Medina with the family.
Right.
She was 9. Now, how do you defend that?
Was it not a custom at the time without?
No, it was not. It was not an established. Yani, it was not something abnormal, no doubt. So there are a number of arguments you can use. Argument number one, firstly, before you jump to the Prophet ﷺ in the 7th century, when did he pass away? 632 CE, 11 Hijri, yes? Yes? Before you jump to him, let's make our way back gradually, century by century, decade by decade. Is that fair? And let's start here. Let's start from the West, where people are asking this question increasingly.